You can have socks if you want.
Yep, and then I would wiggle your foot to the right, your right foot to the right. Maybe bring your hands to the blocks and then, dynamically lean in and out of that stretch. So you might lean in and wiggle your hips side to side or shake out your head. You might lean back the hips and straighten out the front leg and do the same thing. And go back and forth like 4 or 5 times. It is cold. Go to your door, the heat's doing the best it can. No, go to your last door. No, here, yeah, oh, it is closed. Yeah, just shut it. Shut this one too. About 5 more breaths, moving back and forth, and then on the 5th or so breath, you're gonna lean forward with the front leg bent, and you're gonna stay there. We'll stay with 80s music if that was good vibes. So maybe take another breath and then lean in and stay in. Like let your right leg wave side to side a little bit. Maybe the right foot turns onto the outer edge of the foot. Maybe you let your hips kind of slump to the left and your shoulders twist. So you don't have to stay totally neutral. We're gonna twist a little bit towards the right leg. Maybe you prop your arm up. Take a nice deep inhale. Let it out. Gently untwisting and then dragging your hips back, straighten out that front leg. Wiggle out your toes, rotate a little bit. And then this is where we're gonna take the cat-cows. Inhaling, arching. Exhaling, tucking and curling. And you can do whatever you want with the right foot. Maybe it's flat, maybe, the toes are flexing. Arch, lift your sit bone up. Exhale, tuck it under. The next time you send your chest forward, you're gonna walk your hands a step forward and lean your butt back. Flex through your heel and take 5 breaths. Tom, do you want a blanket for under your right or left knee? Do you want a blanket under your left knee? Change your mind. We're gonna work the straight right leg directly out to the right side. So if you were a flop and 12 opposite head, your right leg is gonna go out to the right. And you're gonna do those things again, those cat-cow motions, those wiggles, those adjustments with your right foot, right ankle. Maybe rotate the right leg up and forward a couple of times. Maybe circle out the right foot. Arching and rounding the spine, and at some point, keeping the arching, walking your hands with straight arms a step forward each, and then lean your butt back. Breathe. 5 breaths. Deep breath in. Soften the exhale. Slowly peel yourself up. Release your right leg to the back of the mat. You can turn to the side and open your arm up. Let your arm go behind you. Open your chest. And then exhale, side bend. Inhale, arm up. Exhale, let the arm go behind you. Take another breath in. Exhale, side bend. Go all the way to the hip. Feel the hip stretch. Once more. Peel up and back. Open. Over the side. And you can bring your hand down to the floor. Return to neutral. Shift your hips side to side. Shake out your head. Maybe organize your blanket underneath your right knee or your knee pad. Switch it, and you're going to step your left foot up and out to the left side of the mat. Maybe it's blocks under the hands. And then you're going back and forward and back, shaking it out, side to side. Making micro adjustments with where the left foot is. How far forward or back you want your hand. Then when you're ready, you're gonna lean forward, stay for about 10 breaths. You know, get as low as you want or as propped up as you want. 5 breaths. In into your nose. Out the mouth. Slowly reversing it, drag your butt back, let your left leg straighten. Wiggle the toes on the left foot. Flex the left foot, and then maybe point it, right? Squeeze your thigh, flex and point. Maybe you get some rotations happening on that straight leg, rolling the left thigh bone. Maybe circle the ankle, all that. Kind of pick up a way that you like the foot and find some cat-cow motion from the spine. Exhaling, rounding, tuck your tailbone under. Inhaling, arching, exhaling, rounding. Flex the foot when you arch. Get into the hamstring, do 2 more. And then we're gonna stay for about 10 breaths. Left leg straight, arms walk forward, lean your butt back. Next we'll be on the foam roller. 5 breaths. Into your nose. Full body side. Slowly you pull yourself forward, just enough that you can press the straight left leg further out to the left side. Straight out to the side with it. Do those things with the foot. Wiggle, flex, point, rotate. Pull the ankle around. And then find the cat-cow with the spine, right? You exhale round, tuck your tailbone, tuck your chin, and then inhale, arch, and tilt your sit bones up. Exhale, flexion. Inhale, extension. Do a couple more. Right, take just the right amount of extension that you want to keep when you walk your hands forward and lean your butt back. Five deep breaths. To the nose. Right on out. Then you kind of pull yourself up, release the left leg to the back of the mat, and turn to your side so your left arm goes up. Kind of open that arm out behind you, gaze up, and then exhale, side bend over your head, almost rolling the chest toward the floor. Inhale, open the arm, open the chest up to the ceiling. Exhale over your head, gaze down. 2 more. Inhale, peel up and widen. Exhale, curl forward and close it. 1 more. Inhale. Exhale. Hand comes down, and you'll find your child's pose for a couple of breaths, just in the middle, and then we'll come up and get the foam roller going. I gotta get another one. Child's pose is a good place to approach the foam roller for the quad. You come up, grab your foam roller. And so this is subjective. If you're gonna be up on your hands, if you're gonna be, propped up on your block, rolling back and forth. At some point, we're gonna bend and straighten this leg. We're gonna try to rotate on certain points. Scrub back and forth. And just sit with gravity, allowing yourself to kind of unresist and just kind of lay over it. So starting kind of close to the knee, and when you are close to the knee, it's more sensitive, so be softer and gentler. You'll be able to have the deeper pressure on the middle of your leg, and then you'll get more sensitive up on your flexors. I'm not saying you're not gonna bump into knots and stuff. The first bit is you finding your balance. So if you find your elbows digging too much, I apologize. I don't know if I would suggest a blanket and like maybe Indian burning. But rolling up and down the very center line of the quad. There's a tendon right in the middle from the hip flexor down to the center of the knee. And it can be sensitive. Right, the very middle. It's like these pants actually have a line there. Actually, the flexor right down the middle. Right, and then at some points, you're gonna find it very sensitive. And your grounded knee, maybe you want that blanket under your left knee, Jean? Yeah. Could be either directly in front of you, it can be turned out, it can be off to the side a little bit if you prefer that frog shape to your leg. So you can be scrubbing north to south. If you find a sensitive spot, see if you can't stop and let your weight sink down with the straight leg and the head drop down and the weight of the pelvis drop down. If it's too much, then you obviously pull back a little bit. But see if you can't take 3 to 5 breaths, just sinking down, not moving, not resisting. Breathe, that spot, maybe you bend your leg now, not really moving anything, just bending the knee. And then maybe rock your shin left to right, like a windshield wiper. And maybe gently. And you can have a block under your head if your head is getting like worn out from being up. I think I'm gonna turn the lights off again, I don't know. I think they're bothering me, but I guess I have to leave them on for Zoom. Hello, Zoomers. Yeah, when you bend the leg, you're shortening the quad and that's gonna make it tighter. So as you incrementally, then you straighten the leg out again, then you start to roll up an inch or two and you scrub up and down the next spot on the ladder. Up and down, you're moving, and at some point, you pause, you let your leg soften to straight, let your body weight just kind of sink down, and then you come back to your breath. 3 to 5 breaths. You're not going for bruising yourself, that's not fun. Take a moment, maybe pull off of it like 15% and then bend the leg, right? Maybe flex the heel lightly. Rock the shin left and right. If a centimeter, an inch, bigger range of motion. Pause, straighten and bend the leg a couple of times. And then you start rolling again, and you just move up incrementally, ironing up towards the hip flexor, the center line of the shot. Going through those 3 stages, the forward and back, the pausing and sinking, and then the left to right with the reflection on the knees. I wonder if the bolster would be helpful under the chest. Maybe I'll go get 1 or 2 and see if that is helpful for having like something. Oh no, I'm not, that's not gonna help your leg, it's just gonna help you have balance. Some of these shapes, I'm still figuring out like what's the most comfortable place to go. If that's helpful or not, you tell me. Oh. I'll take that as a yes, I'll get you some more. So we're gonna spend like 2 more minutes on this line, and at some point you're gonna get up towards the hip flexor, just below the bony landmark of the ASIS. Anterior, superior iliac spine. This bony thing.
Yeah, so is this the fascia that we're pulling apart?
Well, you know, honestly, I don't think there's any time that you are not working with fascia, because it is like the web that connects every single thing in your body, not just your muscles, your bones, your organs, everything. It's like, it's everywhere. You can't not work on it. So yes. Totally. Once you've, you know, gotten yourself up by the hip flexor and you spend your 30 seconds, your minute there, before we switch sides, you're gonna try to kind of roll up and down the entirety of the line a couple of times, just to see how it feels and clear out any further blockages. I wanna try to roll some. Oh, I didn't mind, I don't mind that, that's a little bit less pressure. Elbows on it. Now you can also, with your straight leg, you can kind of roll, because we are, as we get, after you go up and down this long line a few times, you're gonna start to turn like this. Ugh. Now there's that. The bolster is nice.
Whoa!
So again, rolling up and down, pausing, letting yourself sink, and then the killer, the friendly bending your leg and this. Okay, so, you know, mindful if you're actually rolling over a bone, go very slow and gentle as you turn onto your side. Elbow, right elbow probably on the bolster, that was kind of nice. Right leg is straight underneath you, left foot is stepped on the floor in front of you. So you keep going that way, Tom. Turn that way. Keep going that way, Dad, it's gonna be on your side. Lower than your hip, so you're gonna roll the IT band now, outer thigh. Tom, you're gonna turn for Denville. Right elbow on bolster, I'm gonna copy you, I'll pull this way. So yeah, the IT band, you can lift your right foot off the floor and just start to roll that outer seam. Find a spot that's extra, pause. Try to soften, maybe bend and straighten your leg a couple of times. To work through, and that is, I think, working through a little bit of the fascia. When you start bending and straightening the legs and sinking in deeper, the resistance kind of giving up a little bit.
We're looking what's the full length of?
Yeah, down to the inner knee, and I would go the same kind of style, incrementally, moving down an inch, scrubbing up and down, pausing, sinking, gravity weight down, pausing, and then bending and straightening the right leg a couple times on the spot. Scrubbing again. Oh, Jean, you got you there, really tight spot, I can tell. You're fighting with it. She's like, I'm gonna overcome this sensation. Don't try to push into bruising, it's not worth it. Mhm. That is why I don't have the like knobby rollers, because they're just too intense. But this one's pretty firm. Mhm. The natural progression is on to your glute, but you got like 2 more minutes on this side of the leg.
Fire butt.
Yep, the right butt cheek. I would spend a bit of time right here on the piriformis, which I'm gonna come up from.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So as you make a turn onto your butt, yes, you'll get that outer pocket of the glute med and the piriformis.
Are we on our back?
You will get there eventually. So I'm kind of halfway towards my back right here. It's better on my hands than my elbow when I'm in this position. You wanna know where I am?
Oh.
On the butt, that's the, actually is. Yeah, I discovered something new there.
On the one side. Are you on one butt?
I'm just on the right butt cheek, not both.
Okay.
That's why I'm turned to the side a little bit and I'm working just under the greater trochanter. It's the top of the thigh bone, bony landmark. And then I'm above it and on the side of it. And you can little by little, you know, kind of just 1 millimeter, turn a little bit more to the middle, upper glute shelf. Or start to little by little roll out the right glute. The side of it, the top of it. Yep, get up by the sacrum, the bony landmark up there.
Definitely tell which it is your part.
No, and then you kind of turn and now I'm just rolling out the kind of center back of the right glute. Yep, I've shifted, but I'm not quite symmetrical because I'm leaning more onto the right side. What's gonna be nice after this is I'm gonna take about 10 more breaths on the glute before you start to turn more onto your back. Butt is gonna go on the floor. Very gently, hopefully have your bolster nearby. Take a little back bend over the roll. You see how I have the bolster here? It's still intense, don't get me wrong. You can roll a little bit. You can lift and lower your head a couple times. Maybe lift your butt and lower it a couple times. Just let your spine and your ribs stretch over the roller. Circle the arms out wide or overhead. Take about 10 breaths. Roller could be high, it could be medium, it could be low, you could be still, you can be moving, it's all up to you. Not a lot of rules when you're caring for yourself. The only rule is that you do actually care for yourself. You can choose the method. Five more breaths. Into your nose. I suggest rolling your butt to the floor and getting the roller kind of high up your back so you can make your way up to seated and then forward fold over your straight legs. Yep, Jean, exactly. You get your booty down, you get your chest to come up, and then you're gonna flop right over your thighs and reach for your feet. Take a nice deep inhale, side out, let your chest sink down. You're gonna take 10 breaths. Noticing if you're folding deeper than usual or not, or whatever it feels like compared to you. 5 more breaths. Into your nose. Slowly coming up. Just taking note of how different the right leg is than the left, and then we're gonna switch sides. So we're gonna turn around to, bolster in front of you probably again if you were using it. And then the roller under the left quad. By the knee starting. I like that. Get your right knee up and forward, your left leg out to straight. Very gingerly. The left leg is not all tenderized like the right leg. Gonna be like, oh. Tiny little 1-inch scrub up and down. And then let yourself pause and try to unsqueeze, almost like you could melt, not melt, but you know what I mean. Sink down over the roller like gravity's pulling your foot down, pulling your hips down, pulling your head down. Breathe. You need to scrub forward and back, you do. And then you consider if you want to bend the left leg, slow bend, straighten it again. Slowly bend. Do that a couple times, then you keep it bent and rock the leg, the shin, left to right. And at some point you straighten the leg, you take a breath, and then you scrub, you go up 1 little inch up. Forward and back a little higher up on the thighs. Returning to your breath, wiggling out the toes. Cross. And you soften and sink. The leg straightens and gets heavy. The pelvis sinks down like you could fold over the roller somehow. Deep breath. Slowly bending the legs, straightening the legs, flexing and extending the foot, the ankle, the toes, the knee, and then at some point you flex, bend, and rock, lateral rotation, left to right with the flexion, inviting the releases. When you're ready, you kind of straighten the leg again. Take a big inhale and you just puff it out. Start to scrub forward and back again. Up a little higher, the medium, really meaty part of the quad. Dense energy. You roll with it. That was a good pun. Roll with it. I'm the Punisher. Circling out your toes, your ankle, and then maybe allowing yourself again that sinking down into it, a kind of reluctant release. Maybe there's a little bit of left to right happening with the hips, and then you say, hey, let me see about bending this leg. Take a breath. Curl your leg to bend, little hamstring curl, and then push it to straight a couple times, flexing and extending. You flex and you rock left and right with the shin. Straighten the leg. Forward and back again as you go higher, you climb higher up the thigh towards the flexor. It's not just one thing, it's a group of things in the hip flexor going all over the thigh bone, lower spine. Core. Back, forward and back, and then sinking just straight down, no resistance, so minimal resistance. Breath in. Out with gravity. Then you start to bend and straighten the leg 3, 4 times, 5 times with your breath. Leg will stay bent. It will shift back and forth, side to side. Motions becoming more familiar as you work your way through. The more often you do it, the less weird it will be. I can't say it'll be less painful, but I will say that the sensation does change. Lifting yourself higher up the leg towards the hip flexor where you become more gentle. Get to less flesh and more boniness. Gentle. That's where you'll find more nerve pockets that you can bump into. Not enough flesh to, protect it. You just allow yourself to lay over the bolster. Yes, you've given up. Just allow it to take you. More 10 breaths or so as you're up at your highest point before you begin your turn just on to the side. Well, no, not even turning it because you're going to roll up and down the length of the front of the thigh first, just to kind of iron that whole thing out. You did all that incremental work, right? Broke up little bits, particles of energy. And now you're going to move up and down the line, kind of sweeping all that stuff out. It's a very spiritual song. Up and down, and when you're satisfied after 5 or 6 times, up and down the entirety of the quad, you start to shift a little bit lateral to the side, to the outside of the left leg. You roll a little bit up and down, before you even get all the way to the IT band. Get the outer edge of the quad, which there's a ridge to that muscle before you get to the IT band. That's right, Amy, exactly. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's nice with the block under your head. Matt used to say that my yoga class would look like a plane crashed and everybody on the floor in different crazy positions. And he would say, that's how he knew it was his early class. Looks like everybody fell out of an airplane. So considering, you know, those three things, the little scrub, the pause with sinking, and then of course, the favorite, the bending of the leg, the bending of the leg, to the left leg, yeah. Straightening it. Not hooking up under the hip bone, above it even. Directly into the side of your thigh. You breathe. Down towards the knee. Gently. With kindness. Or your leg will make the same noise as Axl Rose. Get there. Breathing. Yeah. Go up and down the IT band, you know, if you get down to the knee after all that scrubbing, pausing, bending and straightening the leg, and you go up and down the line at least 5 or 6 times before you start to turn onto the side of your glute, just the side of the glute. You can bend both knees and kind of be like this. Get a little higher. You had on jeans when you were to stick your hand in your back pocket, that spot. That outer glute. Pausing. Bending and straightening the left leg, maybe just lifting it up and down. Get in the center at some point of the back of that left boot. One more minute here. Go for the inner thigh after this, after we do the back bends. We'll see if we have time to get to the benches, and if we don't, I'm still gonna switch them out for these and we'll have them for next time. Slowly get in the center of the back of that glute. And then when you're ready, you're gonna roll your bottom onto the floor and back bend over the roller with your head probably on the roller. And you can roll up and down the back a bit, right? High, medium, low. Peek into that back bend and you breathe. Deep breath in. 10 more breaths. Five breaths. I'm gonna admit the inner thigh is the most sensitive of the bunch, but it's also kind of the harder one to get to, so you won't be able to put as much pressure on. So that's some solace. Take a nice deep breath. Consider rolling the roller up and down till it gets higher and higher up towards your head, and you can actually put your butt on the floor and come up to seated. Straighten your legs out in front of you and take an inhale. Exhale, fold over your straight legs. Deep forward fold, probably your deepest forward fold yet. Right, inhale, you kind of pop up your chest. And then exhale, let the chest sink down, the head drop down, 10 breaths. Five breaths. Next trick, we're gonna use the massage ball. Does everybody have one? Dad, here's one for you. Now, the shape that we're gonna take in order to get the inner thigh is a very familiar shape from restorative yoga that we do a lot. But with a twist, with the ball, so. And I do have, a couple of like larger balls, if for some reason you're like, this is just too small, too pointy, you can switch. All right, axles. So, I'm just gonna turn the mat a little bit. The, restorative yoga pose that you're more familiar with is this half frog shape that we tend to do on our bellies. Like this, right? It is comfy, and it's a nice stretch for the inner thigh, and that's gonna be the second part. The working part, maybe laying on your side. I'm just gonna take your block. Right here, your ball. Oh, sweet baby Jesus, and your thigh. And that's it, and it hurts already, I'm like, okay. But we'll play with, straightening and bending your leg. You can be down like this. And then. Go ahead, give it a try. Right leg up to the side. Right. And you can have your two blocks. You know, one for your thigh, one to support your ankle or your shin, so that you're not unsupported. And the bottom leg is probably straight out beneath you, the right leg is gonna be bent, and you're gonna place that ball, let's start close to the knee, just because. The inner knee, and then let your thigh, the weight of your leg just sink down onto the wall, onto the block. Yep, and you might need a bigger one, just because you're tall. Yeah.
Okay, so it's like this.
Okay, you got bigger parts, Tom? Got bigger bones. So get one under your thigh, one under your foot, and then put the ball underneath your inner thigh and squish it onto the block. Yes, sir, and then be gentle with yourself and kind.
This is roll again.
You can, yep, you're gonna scrub up and down that inner line, you're gonna take a breath. And then you'll let the thigh clamp down. It does work as well. You can put the ball between your legs, but if you add the block, then you'll get the good pressure. And I can even, I got something for you. I'll give you a skinny block that one. This is the bigger block. It's good like that. You will have every size of block, every size of leg, here's the other size. Cause then you can go like that and have your ball. And then it won't be as big. You can go higher up your thigh towards this area, which is called the chrysalis. Yep, it gets ropey and bumpy. You might pull your knee up a little bit higher. I'm gonna give you a bigger ball too. Yeah, sometimes the size of the ball. That bigger ball, unfortunately, they're $20, so I can't afford to buy a bunch of them yet. I mean, you know what I mean, way small, so I'll wait until we're. There's 30 of us in here, and then we'll get the bigger one. For now, we have the super bouncies. It's doing a good job. It works perfect. It squishes down plenty, so you're not really gonna hurt yourself unless you go into bruising, which I don't suggest. As you get up towards the inner groin, it's gonna get more sensitive. Just be gentle. You can turn your block up to the medium height if it's too low. All right. Cause I did it before. I tried everything at home, you know, to make sure it was sort of feasible. Yep, and then don't be afraid to kick that right leg slowly out to straight. And then pull it back in a couple of times and let the ball sink a little deeper.
Oh, that's what you.
Yeah. I think that's when you start to get in deeper through the back, when you like open and close the joints and it sinks down another, like millimeter or something. What's the benefit of all this again? You're releasing knots and energy out of those muscles. All that feeling that you're feeling, you don't want that trapped in there. And you're Sagittarius, we roll the thighs, so that's like a place where we might have more stuff and. Not to get weird. Two more minutes on this inner line. As high up as you can get towards the connection points. And then down towards the knee again. Straightening and bending. The resting hold will be nice, on the belly with the leg up to the side to stretch that. Put on this class. Put down on it. One more minute. Rolling on the ball. Get your butt up on the ball. One more minute. You know that in another dimension, I'm the weird owl of converting songs into Pilates music. Instead of heat it, it's squeeze it. Squeeze it. And more breaths ourselves. People like this, I know, it's crazy. They come, this is your first time, you can back. So, take another couple moments, and then when you're ready to kind of be in the stretchy part, you're gonna have your hips on the floor, your chest on the bolster, right leg up on those two blocks. And rest. And I go away from the floor. And I'll come around and I'll set up the blocks so that they're supporting you nicely. If you want, you can turn down your belly, keep your leg there. You get the chest on the bolster. And then we're gonna play by left to the side. That's your left. This one, the other way, the other way. There you go. Oh, that's it. You good? That's it, you're doing it.
Just resting.
Yep. Perfect. And then you'll breathe into the inner right thigh. Let it have the stretch. One more leg, and we'll prop the legs up for the rest. We'll let them drain. So I was recently discovering that the lymph system, the drainage system has no pump of its own, meaning like the heart doesn't pump drainage through the lymph. The only way that we get that is through movement or massage. That's why when you sit still, you get swollen. Because you have to move and also do massage or, you know, manipulation to get those things to move. So that's one really big reason to do this. I was interested. Some physical therapists that I'm following. And breaths. Big breath into your nose, into your chest, into your thigh. Out the mouth, out the hips. Not a big change, but when you're ready, you're just gonna extend that bent leg out behind you to straight and just lay flat on your belly. Maybe let the heels turn out and the toes turn in, or rock your hips side to side a little bit. Yep, you can push the bolster away if you don't want it. Don't go to sleep just yet, because we're gonna do the other leg, and then we can go to sleep.
Said we could do whatever we want.
Whatever you want, 1 more minute, just don't snore. You can do whatever you want, as long as you do what I say, no, just kidding. Big, 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 big breath. Let it out. More moments.
Thinking about these crazy stressful that work, and I put it on the floor, I saw my shoe, and just rolled my car till in the water, rolled more, it felt worse.
Oh, yeah, it's tender in there.
Wow.
Yeah, so when you're ready, you can push yourself up to hands and knees and kind of start to situate yourself. Blocks are gonna go over to the other side of your bolster. And you can lay on your side. The left thigh is gonna get propped up. It's up to you how high you need the block on the medium height. Or the low height. Yeah, alcohol. So that woman wrote a book called The Roll Model. And it's all rolling, and she came out with like 5 different massage balls that are, you know, her knee brands. Maybe well done. So you can use the bolster if you want. If you don't want it, you don't need it. I like it. It's soft under my ribs. You could even, you know, have the other block under your head if your hand was tired. Actually, that's kind of nice. Block under the head. Then you find that tender inner thigh, and start to roll up and down, inner seam of the leg. Straighten the leg out. And then straighten it a few times. Any little scrubs. Deepening your breath. Shifting the weight kind of forward on the hip and then back towards the sacrum. You bend and straighten again. If you start to get too pointy and, you know, intense, feeling like you're bruising, then pull back a little bit. Don't go too crazy into sensation. Rubbing, pausing, sinking. Opening and closing the leg from straight to bent. A resting pose when we're finished with all this is gonna be with the legs completely propped up, so they do have that opportunity to drain down from the feet towards the hips. This different, everything, that's that right leg. No, the left is touching with the spines. Interesting. Yeah, and as for me, up towards the inner groin area, the gracilis is just. It's a good name for that muscle, 'cause that's what it feels like, gracily. Looking towards the knee, up towards the inner groin. Breathing into the points of interest. Taking some serious part today, I'm really proud of you. That was another fun. It was. Another 2 minutes on the center thigh. You didn't get to the benches, but that's okay. You would have been sitting on the wall, it would have been very intense. One more minute. And breaths. You're ready to go, you finish this 10 breaths and you're ready to stretch. You're just gonna shimmy onto your chest and open that leg out to the side onto the blocks. That can be flat on the floor, that can be with your chest propped up on the bolster. You have your knee and your foot on a block. I'm gonna kind of out at 90-degree angle. Turn on to your belly.
Share with us your weekday schedule.
Meaning when I teach,
No.
or just like
What
studio?
the classes are. in the
Yes.
studio. You can
So-
also highlight which ones you teach.
Oh, yeah, no, every morning during the weekday, there's a 9:30 AM class, and they go from all levels flow or beginner. So Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday are all levels flow, Wednesday is a beginner flow, and Friday is the vinyasa flow with Claudia, which is a little more powerful. And then on the weeknights, you have me tonight, Matt Pilates followed by foam rolling, and I try to make it complementary, like I try to make the foam rolling class go, roll out the areas that we just worked in Matt Pilates. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night is Anne, and she is really great with yin, that's like her specialty. So she teaches a vinyasa flow followed by yin, which is pretty popular. Wednesday night, we have Day. Day is wonderful. She has one of those voices that can like get you to do anything. She's just very sweet and encouraging. I love her classes. She was one of the first people that I knew I wanted to hire when I knew this was gonna happen. Thursday night, you have me again with Matt Pilates and restorative, which we've been having a lot of singing bowls at lately, and we're gonna have more. And Saturday, Christina, she's the queen of Saturdays. Meet again on Sunday. But we're gonna have a few more special events. We're gonna start having a weekly nighttime breathwork class. That's 1 hour with Dean. That'll start probably after we come back from Costa Rica, I bet. And then, of course, we'll have the journey to find our spirit animals. Lots of fun events. And I like the variety. I like that we can have a workout class followed by a recovery class. Take about 10 more breaths. When you have the urge to straighten out your legs completely on the floor, you can do that. Or you could pull both legs up to bent and get off the blocks. Like a frog pose. Straighten out. Now for your final, I'll be there for a minute or so, but as you consider your final resting shape, definitely with the legs propped up. So either, legs over the bolster or the bolster propped up on the blocks and the legs going up. Which. Oh yeah, that's the one, once yes. And if your legs are falling apart and they can't stay up there, I'll put a strap around them. They can be knees out a little bit. Actually pretty nice. Last shape. Settling back. Picking the legs up. Letting the arms go wide. The head fall back. Volume just went nuts. Last breath together into the nose, but all the way down the front of the body to the toes. You fill up. And as you sigh out, feel your wingspan spread. You sink down, you let go.
Get so excited. I come home a little late at night. But you want to act like children. When we hug you, fuck with when you get away, down to the not here,
Inhale a bit bigger, deeper. Rolling the toes under, licking the fingers. Rocking the head, right. Left. Spreading the arms, spreading the palms with the breath. Then reach overhead. Curl the knees to bend and stacking the feet on the bolster. Maybe you lift your butt and lower it down. And it might be nice to twist the knees to the right for a couple of breaths. Maybe they come off the bolster to the floor. There you twist. And maybe they stay up there. It's the other way too. Yeah, a happy baby could be nice. Pulling, rocking. Kicking aside, we drop over. To a seat to crawl. You fell asleep a little?
No, just love this pose.
Oh, yeah, that's so nice. Come to our final shape, just closing our circle, sealing our practice. Arms glide up. Palms connect. Down in front of the heart, they sink, and the heart rises to meet the thumbs. Thank you so very much, my dearest ones. Namaste.